Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that in the description below. You can also find it in the chat at the top of the chat. You can chat with other traders there, chat with myself. I share ideas, so do other people. Of course, you can join in as well. Find out more information about Elevating Traders if you are interested. So yeah, guys, go take a look at it. Link in the description and also at the top of the chat. But guys, welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone had a good weekend and is doing well. Good morning, Ahmed. Welcome to the stream. Philip, what is up? Good morning. Good morning. My weekend was good. Thank you. Thank you. How was yours? DXY, I think I might fake out currently expect. Okay, yeah, I'm looking for something similar, to be honest. I'm at least kind of more bearish in terms of the current price action, maybe for the next few days. I am still looking for some weakness for the dollar and some upside for the USD pairs. Of course, I'll go through the chart and explain exactly what I'm looking at, but I think we're looking at something similar. CS Integrated, what is up? Okay, same idea as well, but have to be careful as well. Yeah. What is up, CS Integrated? Hope you are doing well. So yeah, guys, I will go through, excuse me, I'll go through the DXY. Take a look at USD majors, gold and silver. Of course, any requests you have, let me know in the chat. Any particular time frames you're looking at as well, let me know, and I will take a look. But first things first, over to the dollar. Excuse me. So yeah, dollar had a really big drop last week, really strong muted downside, taking out some key lows on the 4H, this low here and this low here. So overall, this is still a very important low here for the dollar, which gave us the last swing to the upside. So that's kind of still keeping the market bullish in terms of the large trend. If I go to the daily chart, we can see that we have had a pretty nice trend for the past couple of months. However, it does look like things are starting to stop. Things are starting to stall. We're putting in highs here as price failed to create a higher high. We're taking out lows as well. This might just be a bigger and more complex correction for price to continue. However, we haven't got that yet. And at the moment on the 4H time frame, things are looking pretty bearish. So in terms of the next few days, as I said, I'm looking for more downside. Again, being careful because we are still respecting structure and price may go bullish. After another extended move to the downside, then we might start, continuing to the upside. So being careful of that possibility. But in terms of opportunities, at least for this week, should price see some upside, I would expect another low high to form and price to come back and retest lows and see some new lows. Whether we get back to this low specifically or not, that's a little bit more up in the air. But I would expect to see more downside, especially if we can find a pullback anywhere around this area here, really around 107.6. 107.5. If you can get a pullback anywhere in that area, that looks like a logical area for price to put another lower high in, as we've been doing that very well recently, and see a continuation. So yeah, pretty bearish on the dollar, at least for this week anyway. Like I said, longer term, price may still push up, but I'm seeing evidence of failure to continue bullish. If the trend really was going to continue, I would expect it to have happened after this bullish move as price takes out that high and continues. But we didn't. We rejected very heavily, came crashing back down. We had that correction last week and some more follow through as well. So yeah, to me, dollar's looking pretty bearish from a 4H point of view and lower, and looking for something like this this week for continuation back to the lows. Then we'll see what happens after. We might find support again. We might actually go and break structure. And then if that happens, I'll be expecting a lot more downside for dollar to come, but we'll speak more about that when that actually does happen. So yeah, for now, pretty bearish on dollar, looking for another pullback to roughly the 107.5 area, but anywhere between 107.5 to 108.5 is kind of where I'm looking to anticipate some downside from. And yeah, a push back to lows. So of course, if we look at Euro USD, it's pretty much the exact opposite in terms of the bias. I'm looking for Euro to take out the highs here this week, which we are not too far away from doing. A really nice bullish structure. Price is starting to print the low there, the high, the low, and the higher high. So as I said in the weekly analysis, pretty much looking for another pullback for price to go and take up the highs there. Potentially, we could be looking to come back into the high here at 1.062, pretty much exactly the same scenario as the dollar. We've got some counter trend bullish structure which is starting to form. Prices failed to make lower lows. We had the original low here. Price failed to make a lower low. Now it's putting in some higher lows, 1, 2, 3. So it looks like price is slowly rounding off as well, which is more of a reversal pattern. If we've gone from making lower lows to equal lows to higher lows, it's price that's slowly transitioning bullish and could perhaps mean a lot more upside and a big reversal. So the upside possibility is pretty high there for euro. At least looking for us to take up the highs here this week, but potentially could be pushing back into resistance as well. And in terms of opportunities, would want to see another pullback, perhaps maybe come back, test trend line there as well. I did talk about the retest of the high here. Not too sure if that will line up perfectly with the trend line, but a retest of the high would be a nice place for a long. And like I said, expecting price to push past this point probably some point during the week and probably heading up to highs over there. So pretty bullish in euro as well. Pound USD likewise, we've seen some upside too. We've seen some higher highs and higher lows. So again, in terms of the bigger bearish move, it doesn't look like price is quite giving us that idea right now. I know that the higher time frame trend is still pretty bearish. If we go to the daily chart, overall, we can see the market's been falling pretty well since September, and this potentially could still easily be another pullback of the previous bearish leg, and possibly you might see a continuation. So that is still a possibility. However, it looks less likely to happen candle by candle, day by day. And this is still a very important low, which price is respecting. This is a low which gave us a very strong push to the upside, which actually gave us the higher high. So technically speaking, this is a very important low because it signifies market structure. If we were to break through this, it would be a break of that structure there, which again will insinuate a lot more downside for pound. But at the moment, price is respecting that low as well, which may be indication of more upside. But at least in the 4-hour chart, again, we're seeing bullish structure. So again, for this week for pound, I would suggest another pullback like we had last week and more upside. Again, being careful because this is still counter trend. Price is still giving us these bearish legs here. This is still a major high up there. So being careful. If we can get a buy somewhere along the lines with this trend line here, that would be great. But I wouldn't be so optimistic in terms of targets. I'd probably look to take profits at the high again, because we don't necessarily have a confident bullish daily trend on our hands yet. I know we do have that larger structure there, but I don't think any of us is going to be looking to swing it all the way back to the high there. At least not in one move anyway. So yeah, pound USD, to me, expecting more upside, looking for another pullback, another higher low. Anywhere kind of around 1.245 would be a nice place for buys, and looking to take it back into that resistance there, 1.262. And we'll go from there. In terms of dollar CAD, we had the breakout last week. Really nice move to the downside, finally breaking out that consolidation. And again, this to me is a strong sign that dollar CAD is most likely going to see a lot more downside. So pretty bearish in dollar CAD as well. As you can see through most of the USD pairs, I'm looking for that dollar weakness. USD CAD in terms of the price action looks really good. Again, we had that range, massive fake out to the upside, and we tapped into that massive weekly level as well. So if I scoot to the weekly time frame, drawing that level there, massive test once, twice, now a third time, we could see a lot more downside. Perhaps the retest of this level here, prior resistance, will be turned support in the weekly time frame. That could be a nice little level that price works its way towards. So dropping back down to the 4-hour chart, the plan for this week would be some corrections and some shorts back into that area. Nice consolidation, which price is left behind. It would be nice to see price come back, retest that area, and then continue to the downside with targets more or less 1.4. But again, wherever you see fit, if price pulls back from here, that would be a logical target to have. Then you can always leave some small positions to run in case we do drop a lot further. But yeah, to me, this looks like a bit of a top to the trend, really. So I do think we can see some meaningful moves to the downside here for dollar CAD. Just about timing the pullbacks well. Nice range here. It would be nice to see price come back and retest that and then see some follow through. In terms of Aussie dollar, I'm liking the upside for this one as well. Really nice break to the upside. Pretty much identical to what dollar CAD's doing, to be honest. Nice consolidation, maybe a bit of a fake to the downside there. similar to what dollar CAD gave us. Now price is, of course, breaking to the upside. We've taken out some structure here to the left as well. So again, for Aussie dollar, looking for some corrections and then some more upside. In terms of targets for this one, it's a little bit harder because, I mean, we could go very, very far for Aussie dollar. Again, a lot of dollar pairs, that's a major lows, major levels of support and resistance. So if you well and truly reject these areas and DXY reverses, we could see some really big moves for the dollar pairs, because you can see where we were last time, massive move to the upside. You know, who's to say we can't do another big swing? I mean, Aussie dollar, in fairness, has been kind of ranging, to be honest, for the past couple of years. Who's to say we're not going to make another push back to the high end of the range? So there is a possibility for big moves to come here for the USD pairs. Should we see that reversal for the DXY? And we're positioned very well in a lot of USD pairs. Dollar CHF at major resistance, dollar CAD, Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, pound USD coming off a big low. So there is possibility for a lot of upside, but again, we'll take it week by week, see how price develops. For now, at least for this week anyway, looking at correction and some upside. So that's the plan there for Aussie dollar. New Zealand dollar, pretty much the same situation as well. We just about took up the highs there on Friday, just before the week close. And again, looking for more upside. I like this consolidation here, brief consolidation. This is where all the momentum came from. So it would be nice to see price come back and tap into that area. Hopefully added with some trendline confluence as well. And again, looking for more upside. If I go to the weekly chart, you can see where we're positioned at a massive swing low here. Really big support. Price is there again. So it's equally to Aussie dollar. Well, that's an area where if price well and truly does reject this, and we do see dollar reverse, there's that possibility for a lot of upside for New Zealand dollar as well. So very, very interesting time for the USD pairs. Are we going to reverse? Is this just a pause for price to go and break through these big levels? We don't know. Of course, as traders, all we can do is just trade. And right now, at least for this week anyway, I do fancy more upside. And of course, things can change. And maybe a couple of weeks' time, I'm talking about some more sells again. So it's not concrete, but for now at least, definitely looking for more upside this week for New Zealand dollar. In terms of gold and silver, so gold and silver is a bit interesting. We had that really aggressive sell just before the weekly candle closed. So on stream, I believe we were trading. Yeah, we're trading around here. That was Friday on stream. So basically back at the highs. And I was just expecting price just to go and take out the highs there and just continue and see new highs probably before the end of the week. Little did I know that price was going to have that massive sell. Same for silver. We'll take a look in a second. But really aggressive sell. And this has made things a bit more awkward because essentially price has just respected that resistance level and has done it very aggressively as well. Now, price still is technically bullish. We haven't taken out any key lows. We've come back into support, but this is such a heavy sell. And the fact is the market is very overextended. It doesn't give me a lot of confidence to buy in gold. Now, I know gold can just fly and do its thing. But if a market is overextended in one direction, if I'm going to take trades in that direction as well, I want the opportunities to look very, very good because we don't move in one direction forever. We have our pullbacks. Just look at what gold did at the start of the year. Really big move to the upside. It still had its pullbacks as well. So that will eventually happen with gold. Even this one was a really big one there too. But yeah, really aggressive move to the upside. So I did say this week, if we do break through some support, I do think there could be some nice counter trend sells. That could potentially be the start of the bigger correction for gold, perhaps to come back and retest that high there around 27.88. Then possibly from there, we might talk about some buys again and take it back to highs. But for gold, I'm not really interested in the longs right now. It's a really aggressive sell. Price may just respect support and continue higher, but I'm not really interested. I'd rather see if we can find some downside and then talk about some bigger buys later on. And silver, I'm still pretty bullish on as well. Again, really aggressive moves to the downside. Hasn't broken through any structure yet. These are still our higher lows, which is we're just keeping the trend bullish. And again, in terms of structure, price needs to break through one of these lows to change direction. But again, with the way price moves, very impulsive move to the upside, followed by a very impulsive move back down. Not really a characteristic you want to see in a healthy trending market. So again, the fact with price respecting major resistance on the left here, it's just a very awkward time there for silver. So the overall direction for me is still bullish. I'm personally still looking for a push back to the high there. That's still very much the plan. However, in terms of the setup, it's not looking 100%. So I'm kind of just waiting for more candlesticks to print for silver, a bit more information, and then hopefully I might find a trade late in the week, possibly if you look a bit more corrective, and there might be another higher low to trade, something like this, and then we're on our way. So that could be the reality, but at the moment it's too early to say. And as we come back into resistance here on our left, I wonder is price just going to respect that and potentially sell off and continue the momentum from the end of last week. So silver, I like the buys. Gold, not so much. Silver, I like the buys. Still respecting structure, so I am still very bullish. However, we dropped very hard, and that's made things pretty awkward, especially leaving behind a big wick there on the daily chart as well. Not really a confident piece of information there for buys. Not that we can't go fill the wick, but especially when the trend's a bit corrective, we're trading at major resistance to the left, we're seeing big wicks. Yeah, it just doesn't give me a good opportunity to buy silver just yet. So waiting for a bit more information. Hopefully it might develop into a nice buy later this week, or we'll wait and see. But I am still looking for buys there on silver. Where was I? What's up, people? What's up, Yusuf? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Dark Sean, good morning. Good morning. GJ, 5 minutes. Sure, we'll take a look. For our time, it looks like a bit of scrambled eggs. Okay, so we'll go through GJ for you, no problem. Alex, what is up? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Tony Gold, what is up? Welcome, welcome. Gold, let me know if you call gold. I just did gold analysis. Over a push to 19.5, 191.6 for short entry. Okay, we'll take a look. Mo Mind Deck, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. JPY pairs. Yep, I will go through JPY pairs pretty soon. So yeah, I'll go through GJ in the 5 minute for Darker Sean. Let's see what you are looking at. So GJ, so I'm actually pretty bearish on most of the yen pairs. Yeah, pretty much all the yen pairs actually. Well, at least all the yen pairs I look at. Pound yen bearish, Aussie yen bearish, New Zealand yen, dollar yen, Swiss yen. Yeah, so pretty much bearish. Of course, some look better than others, so I'm kind of more focused on a set few, which we'll go through soon. GJ is a decent one of them, which I'm looking to short on the 4-hour chart, so I'll go through that setup shortly. But on the 5 minute, okay, so I remember last week you were shorting price around here. Did catch a nice move. Looks like probably would have came back and taken out break even. Not too sure. Maybe you got the re-entry there. But yeah, very, very kind of slow trending market right now for GJ. So I wonder if we're going to go and copy what we did here, which is a really kind of prolonged channel before continuation. I wonder if we'll kind of do something like that again here before another drop. That's kind of what I would be favoring for pound yen, at least here on the 5 minute chart anyway. It was a very, very impulsive move to the upside. So I wonder, is this a correction for possibly another push up? It could be. But again, on the 5 minute chart, probably not too concerned with that. So you said you're looking for okay, looking for a push into 191.5 to 191.6. Okay, so roughly around here. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at as well, in terms of we had that kind of prolonged correction, big drop to the downside. I've got a feeling we probably will do something similar as well, more of a kind of prolonged, kind of very choppy, stagnated correction as well, and possibly see the next continuation, another lower high like we did 1, 2, and possibly 3 over there somewhere. And I can see you looking at price coming back into this area here, which is where we had a really strong drop to the downside. So naturally looks like a nice place to short from anyway as well. So I do like the setup there on the 5 minute chart. Structure is pretty clear in terms of direction, what we're doing. It's just very, very choppy, which is sometimes going to be a bit difficult to catch, because you do catch a nice high just to see price, come back up again and then make the move, and it's kind of choppy. So it can be difficult from that point of view. But in terms of the bias, it would be short bias for me in the 5-minute chart, and I would just be looking to try and pick the high. And of course, if everything goes well, possibly a swing back to the low. I know you're going to be looking for your 70 pips, which from that area, yeah, 70 pips will more or less you take you back to the low. I mean, the low is probably about 80, maybe 90 pips, depending where you enter from. But more or less looking at a push back to the low there. So yeah, I do like the setup. Looks pretty good. I'm expecting more downside for pound yen. On the 4-hour chart, I'm looking for a slightly bigger push to the upside to see if price can go and take up the highs there. I'm looking for more of a double top entry at the high here, and then looking for some sells back into the low. So that's really what I'm looking at for pound yen on the 4-hour chart. But again, as we maintain the lower highs, 1, 2, 3, 4, as long as we keep up that theme, I do expect to see a big push to the downside. I'm personally looking at pound yen coming back to the lows there. And as long as we don't break structure, that's the direction I see price moving in. So I'm pretty bearish on pound yen in the higher time frames as well. Structure isn't brilliant. It's a little bit all over the place, but as long as I can maintain those low highs and make sure that I'm taking entries in respect to them, then I'm happy. If I can get a entry in and around this area of a stop loss above the high, that's really what I'll be looking for. Targets back at the low, and see if I can let the profits run a little bit. But yeah, pound yen, for me, I'm still pretty bearish on the high time frames as well. Yeah, I'm still in Aussie CHF. Should I stay in sell position? Again, I'm still in Aussie CHF, but if you want to close or do whatever, that's completely up to you. In terms of my position, my stop loss is above the high at 0.7641. So I'll wait to see if price goes and hits the stop loss or if price comes back into profit. But that's what will take me out of the position, because at that point the trade has failed, and of course we've taken out structure at that point as well, which is the high. But I entered this trade last week on Wednesday. It's been a bit back and forth, really. Had a big push to the upside, push to the downside. So price hasn't really been doing much, to be honest, but currently in a bit of drawdown. Still looking to see if we can take it back to the low at 0.55648. And the whole idea was looking to try and catch that next low high. We had one over there, second over there, and I'm looking to anticipate the third. Had a nice break of structure above the high, but we closed back really aggressively, came back in the trend line as well. And we've had a really nice fib retracement all the way back into the 0.618 as well. So looking to see if we can push into the low. At the moment, momentum is not really on my side, but we'll see if things change and if things develop. Again, the idea of this trade is that we're looking for the continuation of that higher time frame trend, and a continuation of that, possibly to see if we can hold it back to the low, but a lot needs to happen before we can talk about that. So we'll wait for that to happen first. But yeah, still holding Aussie CHF. As I said, stop losses above the high. If you want to close, you can close early. But I'm going to wait to see if my stop loss is respected or not. And that will be what determines if the trade has failed. Looking to close trades early can be effective, but they also can be ineffective, because you'll see sometimes you close a trade early and then it reverses into profit. So if you are going to close a trade early, it has to be for a objective reason. And at the moment, there is no objective reason to tell me to close. Okay, so we'll take a look at a few of the yen pairs. I'm still focused on quite a few of them. I'm pretty bearish across the board on the yen pairs, as I said. There's quite a few of them on the watch list. Okay, no problem, Sultan. So as I said with GJ, looking for sells for that one. Hopefully you can find a lower high. CTF JPY is another one I'd like a lot. This was on the weekly. A weekly analysis. This was the bonus pair. I said looking for another lower high. It looks like potentially it might have formed. So I don't know if I've missed the boat potentially. I didn't get an entry anyway, so it's not a trade for me to take. I might miss the move, but as long as I don't miss an actual trade, that's the important thing. But as I said on the weekly analysis, looking for prices stab through the highs there and then hopefully get the entry signal. This, we didn't quite do that, and prices are already looking pretty bearish. But you can pretty much see what I'm getting at here with CHF JPY. We've got the equal highs up there, lovely move to the downside, and then we've been pretty consistent with the lower highs. So the plan is, can we find more of those lower highs on the way down? Looking at the higher time frames, we're putting in some major lower highs in the daily chart. 1, 2, 3. So the probability of this low being taken out is pretty high. And of course, that is kind of our neckline for the head and shoulder pattern. You got the left, you got the head, and you got the right shoulder. And that there is kind of your neckline for the pattern. So if this level breaks, I do think the floodgates will open for Swiss yen, and we could be seeing a lot of downside. I'm expecting us to come back within the previous all-time high, which is all the way over there. So my target price for CHF is around 158,500. So that's why I'm not too worried if I don't get an entry where price is right now, because there's still a lot of downside I'm expecting, and there probably would be a pullback, which does fit the plan between now and 158.5, which is down there as well. So if you can find a trade somewhere with a decent risk reward, that's really the plan. The plan isn't to force a trade and just get in because you think price is going down, because at the end of the day, I could be very wrong, and maybe CHF is going to have a massive move to the upside. So it's all about taking a good trade. But it looks like price has broken out this consolidation and is looking like it's seen some momentum as well. So potentially the boat might be missed. If that's the case, I'll look for the next opportunity, but I'm still waiting to see if we can get pushed back to the high for Swiss yen and hopefully see some downside after that. But the yen pairs have been looking pretty bearish this morning. We'll take a look at the yen basket in a moment. Dollar yen's already been falling, so I've kind of just chalked this one off, to be honest, and just waiting for the next pullback afterwards, because we've had a big drop at the end of last week, and price looks like it's continued that momentum early this morning as well, and we're pretty much almost back at the lows there. So the lower highs have been pretty consistent here with dollar yen. Price has been just printing lower high after lower high, and I'm expecting to see us pick up momentum as well. We still do have some confident bullish structure we need to take out, which is this low. This low gave us a big move to the upside, creating that high. So this is still bullish structure in the daily chart. The moment this breaks, then we could be seeing a lot of downside and possibly a big reversal here for dollar yen, or at least a push back into support, which is around here at 140. So dollar yen coming into a very important low. We've tried to continue bullish here a couple times, but failed. Hence why I'm looking at more downside for dollar yen as well, and why I'm bearish on this one. Just trying to tidy up the chart. There we go. So in terms of me looking at longer term sales for dollar yen, I need to see price break through this low first. If that happens, then yeah, I'm expecting a lot more downside. At the moment, we are still coming to this area and can still respect it as support or demand, depending how you see it. And we can still see price try and continue higher. So as we do approach the lows, definitely being careful. The idea is to look for a pullback and then short, which is why I said this week it would be nice if price can have another pullback at some point and give us the entry I was looking for, which is the retest of the low there. Really nice support. Hopefully we'll be turning resistance again and possibly might find the next lower high. So that's really what I'm looking at for dollar yen. But again, a lot needs to happen for me to get that trade. And it might take some time. If not, then I'll wait for the break of structure and then look for the pullbacks afterwards. And then, yeah, target's 140 down there. But as you can see, pretty bearish bias there for dollar yen. Just unfortunately missed the trade there. Well, again, not missed the trade because there was no setup for me, but just missed the move. In terms of the other yen pair, so euro yen, I do like a lot as well. This one is on the watch list too. Again, start off the week a little bit bearish here. I'm hoping to see if we can get one more push to the upside, back into the high, and then find the short. Entries at the high is kind of where I'm looking to take my entry. You can see the lower highs price has been printing 2, 3. I'm looking for the fourth. And of course, in terms of targets, pretty straightforward back into the low. If I zoom out to the daily chart, you can see we've got a massive head and shoulder pattern here. Left head and the right shoulder there. And of course, this is your lovely neckline. I'm expecting us to eventually break through that and see a lot of downside in the near future. Back to some areas here on the left. So the bias is pretty bearish, just basically looking to time myself well, take the best entry I can find, and see if I can hold some positions for the longer term move. At the moment, we're in an area where a lower high could form, so I need to be alert, because if I do see an opportunity in this area, I want to make sure I'm there to take it. And I will be looking to target the lows there and, of course, leave some positions to run, because I do think we can go a lot further as well. But yeah, Euro yen very bearish bias to me. Looking at 161 for entries, there is still hope because this move here is still pretty corrective as well, and we did have a lot of momentum to the upside of this bullish move. So I do think there's still hope for another push to the upside for those entries. Of course, we'll wait and see. But yeah, in terms of the bias, in terms of the entry, in terms of the setup, that's what I'm looking at for a move back into the low. In terms of CAD Gen, there was an entry for me, but I decided not to take it. Would be in a bit of profit, to be honest. But I decided not to take it. It wasn't clean. The market structure prior to that wasn't looking good. And again, you will get some setups which don't look great, but they still play out. And the idea is not to take those setups. You want to be focused on the quality setups, because in the long run, those will give you higher win rate and better all just profitability if you're trading. Just because not necessarily a bad trade, but not necessarily a high quality trade plays out, doesn't mean you should have taken it as well, which is the hard bit about trading, because you could take a very good trade and still lose, and then you didn't take a not so good trade and it wins. So it does play with your mind a little bit, but as long as you focus on the good trade, it will pay off. But anyway, yeah, CAD Gen looking pretty bearish again for this one. I would like to push back to the high for an entry. Again, not my favorite yen pair, but if you're looking to get involved, I would suggest wait for price to be at least back at resistance. Get a nice stop loss above the high, entries in that area around 108, and we can probably look to target back at the lows at 105. And again, for CAD Gen, a big head and shoulder pattern looks like it's forming. Left over there, massive head over there, and of course your right shoulder. That's your neckline. Then looking for the break and continuation as well. So similar to Euro Yen, of course, they're both yen pairs, so we expect similar things. But it does look like the yen pairs are slowly getting ready for their big drop. So yeah, hopefully we can find some entries and take advantage of that. But yeah, CAD Gen pretty bearish as well, and expecting a push back into support this week. So pretty bearish there. And perhaps we could start talking about some lows here at 102 as well. In terms of Aussie yen and New Zealand yen, yeah, don't really like these ones, to be honest. I'm still bearish bias as well. And the reason why I'm bearish bias overall is because of the drop we had last July, a really big move to the downside. I'm looking at this bullish move as a pause or a correction for price to continue that momentum for another drop. So that's what I'm expecting with the yen pairs. In terms of Aussie yen, it's been a difficult one to kind of read, to be honest. We've been consolidating for a while. Looks like price was breaking out, but now it's breaking back in. So it has not been clean. Perhaps we're getting ready for a drop here, but unless we kind of clean up a little bit, I'm not really interested in trading Aussie yen. It's not as good as Euro yen, for example, or pound yen or Swiss yen. If I can get some entries for that, even dollar yen, if that one develops well. But I am looking at a lot more downside, and those are the targets I have. And because of the correlation between the yen pairs, I do expect it to happen. But again, my focus is always taking good trades. I will have I could probably have a bias for every pair I trade, but doesn't necessarily mean it's a good bias or there's a good setup to trade, which is the important thing. But yeah, with Aussie yen, if things clean up, there may be a lower high here to take. It's just a bit awkward because it's kind of coming back inside the range. So the entry is a bit vulnerable, but if we can respect structure there is a good chance for a low high to form around 97.5. Of course, targets back at the low. New Zealand yen, I believe, is in a similar situation as well. So again, as you can see, we've got these lower highs, which price is starting to print. Could see price give us an entry, something like that. I would want to see a slightly deeper push, close towards that trend line. And again, targets back at the low. If I zoom out to the daily chart, I'm looking for price to push back to this swing low here. Massive drop in July. So again, this just looks like a big pause for a continuation. So this is where I do see price ending up, and that's the direction I would want to be trading in. So again, for New Zealand yen, maybe something like this could look good, close to the trend line. Nice drop into the low. Just a bit awkward as well because again, price was trading in a range here. Now kind of coming back inside of it. You always want price to break out a range and then continue. But yeah, New Zealand yen, pretty bearish on this one as well, expecting more downside. Okay, no problem. Alex, happy to help. Ahmed, AUD will cut rates tomorrow, so it may drop. Will okay, yeah, that's very, very true. That's very, very true. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on Aussie rate cuts tomorrow. Is it early tomorrow morning? It's like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., something like that, UK time. So I'll be sleeping. So it'll be a nice wake up on Tuesday, hopefully, or not. I've experienced both sides of that coin. Okay, calendar. Okay, so yeah, Aussie interest rate. What time? 3:30. So yeah, I'll be asleep. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, rates are expected to wait, is it increase or drop? Okay, yeah, drop. So yeah, rates are expected to drop from 4.35 to 4.1. So that should be bearish for Aussie, but again, will that remain bearish? Will that just be the reaction of the news and prices bullish later on? We've seen it happen many times. And we've seen times where the interest rate decision doesn't even affect the pair that much either. And again, that's the thing with news. There's always an expectation, but what actually happens can differ. So nothing's guaranteed. But yeah, you would expect to see a weak Aussie from that, so that would help out my Aussie CHF position. But we'll see how that goes. Where was I? Lighton, good to have you back, my man. Welcome to the stream. Where we at with dollar CAD and Aussie dollar? Okay, I'll go look at them. Let me just go through the JPY basket, and then I will have a look at USD CAD and Aussie dollar for you. Okay, so JPY basket. Okay, looks like we held into that lower pretty well there. So yeah, JPY basket, I'm being pretty bullish on this one. I'm overall looking for a really big move to the upside. I'm looking for a push right back into resistance. So it looks like price is kind of forming a bit of a bottom here. I do imagine us picking up the pace back to the high there, which is why I'm looking for pound yen to tank and euro yen to tank and CAD yen to tank and all those yen pairs to tank. Because if the yen basket is going to push to the upside, that means you're going to see a strong yen, and that means everything else is going to drop. So pretty bearish on the yen pairs, pretty bullish on the yen basket. Of course, we still got some work to do. We've got some resistance in our way there, which price is struggling to break through. But the key thing for me is that we're still consistent with the higher lows. You know, this was a higher low, which gave us a push to the upside. Price respected that. It looks like we're picking up the pace as well. So yen basket to me looks like more upside is likely. And if you do get the break of 6,800, that is probably going to be the catalyst to really get the yen pairs moving. And then 7,200, 7,300 is the next big target. And then I expect price to actually break through that and go further as well. But that'll be a story for another day. But at least in the moment of time, expecting a pretty big move there. So we'll just be focused and see if we can get some entries there. In terms of USD CAD and Aussie dollar. So USD CAD very bearish on. I like USD CAD and Aussie dollar. They kind of look like close similar to each other. Of course, the USD pairs they will, but in terms of the price action, the way they've moved, it's very very alike, which is not always true. So again, for USD CAD, we had a big range over here. Price manipulated that to the upside with the big gap we had a couple of weeks ago. We came crashing back down after retesting a major level weekly resistance. As we can all see, massive test there, second test there. Again, these are no light tests, by the way. We're seeing really big drops from here. So the possibility of another, not necessarily big drop, but at least a reaction, which is what we're seeing, is pretty high from this area. So expect some downside because of that, but also because of how prices fake the range. And now we've seen some follow through to the downside. So typically when price fakes out, it's always to move in the opposite direction. If we fake out of resistance, it's to move down. If we fake out of support, it's to move up. And that's exactly what price has done. So after we tested the weekly zone, we came crashing back down, brief consolidation for about a week. And now we've committed to the downside. So the way I see dollar CAD happening is that we're probably going to get a bit of a bearish trend, which will form. And in terms of entries, I would like to see price come back and retest the range here for more downside. In terms of targets, I've pointed out a weekly zone just below us, massive resistance here as well in the weekly chart. It would be nice to see if price can come back and retest that level. So around 1.4 looks like a good target. But then again, if you want to keep it very simple, a push back to the prior low. Let's say if we do pull back from here to retest the range, we form the lower high and come back down. This low would make a load of sense to be your target for a trade, because of course that's our last swing low in the 4-hour chart, or um, last swing low in the 4-hour chart. So it would make a lot of sense to target that area. And of course, if you want to push the trade a little bit further, you can always leave some small positions to run, take most of your profit there, and leave some to run to 1.4 if you're looking to do that. But there is a lot of downside potential here for dollar CAD. I like the price action, comfortable uptrend, but it looks like it's hit a brick wall now. And we're seeing some characteristics of a market that's changing trend. So in terms of area of interest, 1.43, well, anywhere between 1.427 and 1.436. We just don't want to see price break through this zone. If it does break through that zone this week, we could still sell off, but it becomes a lot awkward and we're back in the range, and that's just not what you want to be seeing. So if we break above the range, then I'll hold back my bias and reinvestigate. But if we can hold that area, that is really where I want to be shorting and taking some downside from. And then Aussie dollar is pretty much doing the exact opposite, really. We've kind of got that fake move to the downside, taking up these lows, which basically formed a big double bottom. Again, you can see where we're trading for Aussie dollar, which is at massive weekly support as well, like dollar CAD is trading at massive weekly resistance. So, of course, you've got major support down here, major support there acting again. If Aussie dollar really wants to reject this, we could go pretty far as well, which is the same situation for USD CAD. So they're both trading at some pivotal areas on the higher time frames where they could bounce from. Judging the trend as well, we've had a really comfortable bearish trend here, which again formed a bit of a range for a couple of weeks. I said the market is very flat, not really a lot of opportunities here. It could be prices forming a bit of a bottom for this bearish trend. We might be looking at push to the upside. That's what it looks like we've got right now with Aussie dollar. And the fact is we're taking out highs now as well. We've got one over there. He broke the high again. Now he broke the high again. So now I'm looking for a pullback, and similar to USD CAD's left behind a bit of a range here, a bit of consolidation in the 4-hour chart. Basically, as long as price can respect this range, I do expect more upside. So similar to dollar CAD, I don't want to see price break underneath. If we do, things get awkward again, and I'll have to reinvestigate. Maybe this forms a bigger range than expected, and we take our time a little bit before breaking out. But if we can respect the range there, so anywhere between 0.63 and 0.623, I think it looks like a really nice place for an entry. Price may retest the high of it and continue. We might have a slightly deeper test of the range. That's why I'm marking the whole thing. But more or less, this is where I'm expecting to buy from. And I think targets back at the high there make a load of sense at 0.637. Again, if we do have a big bounce, we could go very far. But I don't really have any clear-cut levels to target like I do for dollar CAD. That's the only thing. I would just be keeping very wary of some of these structural levels on the daily chart. You can see price support there. Price support, resistance over there, support there as well. So those kind of the areas I'll be looking, if you're looking for extended targets. If you're looking to keep it simple, if you get pullback from the high here, let's say, retest, then a target back at the high makes the most sense. And then you can kind of, call it a day. But in terms of direction, Aussie dollar expecting upside, dollar CAD expect downside. So I'm pretty bearish on the dollar right now, pretty much across all majors. We haven't looked at dollar CHF. I think that's the one USD pair I haven't looked at. So I'll go take a look at dollar CHF. But pretty much all USD pairs right now, I do favor weakness in the dollar. And that's very much my bias. And quite a few USD pairs are on my watch list this week. Pretty much all of them apart from dollar CHF. And the only reason dollar CHF is not on the watch list is because it hasn't had a breakout yet. At least last time I checked, it hasn't broken out. It might have. I'll go have a look. But pretty much all USD pairs look good. Where was I? Yusuf. My question is, would you take a position when you have all this confidence, even though a double top or bottom has formed at the highs and lows? Most of the time, no. Most of the time, I would avoid a double top because the very kind of idea of a double top is that price is not breaking highs, or of course with a double bottom is that price is not breaking lows, or at least struggling to break highs and lows. It may eventually do it, but I wouldn't take the setup because again, if you're looking at a healthy trend, this is what a healthy trend looks like. You know, your impulse legs are a lot bigger than your corrective legs. You can probably even just make it a bit smaller, actually. Your impulse legs are a lot bigger than your corrective legs. Your corrective legs take a longer time to form as well. Impulse legs have bigger candles, and there's a lot more momentum. And of course, price is breaking highs, of course, and there's of course forming higher lows as well. That is your key characteristic of a healthy uptrend, and those are the trends, and those are the structures you're looking to trade, especially with the patterns which we're looking at. You're looking to spot healthy trends. If price is struggling to break a high and is pushing back down again, this is not now a healthy trend. This is a trend that's failing at the highs. It may continue. It may just form a big consolidation and then eventually continue, and we might be healthy again. But then that's when you start looking for opportunities, when you've got that reassurance that the trend is healthy. If you're buying into a double top or selling into a double bottom, the trend may continue. You know, double bottoms and double tops don't have a 100% success rate in terms of reversing market structure, but it's at least a sign that says, okay, we're not healthy anymore. We're struggling to break highs, especially gold as well, which is at all-time highs and has been bullish for quite a while and now starting to put double tops. Again, gold can very much continue, but the fact that we have put a double top would put me off a position because especially when the market's very stretched as well. A double top will probably put me off most positions anyway, especially if the market is very stretched and overextended. So all in all, I would avoid taking double tops just because it's a sign that the market is struggling to break highs. You want price to be pulling back after a fresh high because that shows that the trend is still alive. If it's struggled to break a high, then it's not a fresh high. It's not a sign that says, okay, trend is strong. Like I said, it's a game of probability and it could continue, but it's not of high quality. And you want to be focused on the high quality setups. So yeah, when you are looking at confluences, when you are looking for entries and trades in general, always think you're looking for the best setup, the best quality of a setup. And again, every trade that forms is unique. The trade you take, you might be using the same confluences, but the context of the trade and the situation will always be different. So you always have to use your thinking cap. You have to use your brain and your past experience. And if you don't have much experience, that's completely fine as well because you train, you gain experience. You just want to make sure that you're not trading on live capital, which you can't afford to lose because that's an expensive way to gain experience. You can still gain just as much experience on a demo account. Of course, in terms of the emotional side of things, you won't necessarily gain experience there, but at least you can make sure that you've got the strategy and what you're looking to trade down first. And then you can go through that side of things later on because at least you know what you're doing. And it'll make that that side a lot easier as well. But yeah, the plan is to gain experience with the trading style, and I know you're gaining experience now. So my biggest advice is journal, record your trades, because when you look back, it will provide you so much help in the future. Lighten, the correction near perfect between Aussie dollar correlation. Yeah, 100%. The setup's looking very promising, but it's always the breakdown of the market structure that gives sense to the price action. No problem. Yeah, of course, market structure is very, very important. Again, that's pretty much the basis of my trading market structure, especially when you are a technical trader. Your market structure will give you direction because a lot of fundamental traders, they will use fundamental data of what they're expecting a currency to be stronger than another, and that will give them direction. Then, of course, they use the technicals to enter. If you're purely a technical trader, then you're using technicals for direction and technicals for entry as well. So it's very, very important that you understand market structure because that will allow you to understand the direction of the market and when it changes as well. But yeah, Aussie dollar has been trending very well to the downside, but we've hit a really sturdy level of support right now, which is starting to break. And I can see with how price is moving, it does look like things are changing. So if we do see a push to the downside, most likely it's going to end up being a pullback to see some higher prices. And a lot of USD pairs are on my watch list right now. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. So yeah, a lot of USD pairs on my watch list right now. Aussie dollars on the watch list, looking for longs. New Zealand dollars on the watch list, looking for longs. Again, very similar opportunity to Aussie dollar. Again, they're very, very similar pairs, but I'm looking to see which one of them will give me the better entry, the better setup, then I'll take that one. But it's literally the exact same setup. You know, we've been trending to the downside for a while, formed a bit of consolidation, break to the upside, retest the major support. It's literally that exact same thing. Nice double bottom down at the lows here. You know, so it's the exact same setup, and of course, pretty much very similar currency pairs anyway. So they won't be the first time or the last time they do this, but then it just becomes, okay, which one will give you the better entry? Which one will give you the better risk reward, stop loss placement, targets? You know, the Aussie dollar trade might be a nice 1 to 2, but maybe New Zealand dollar entry gives me 1 to 3. Therefore, I'll take New Zealand dollar instead, even though they'll pretty much both work or both fail. But yeah, New Zealand dollars on the watch list as well. I like pound USD as well, coming from a really nice area in higher time frames, retesting some really nice structure on the left. Again, this is a very strong low, which price is respecting at the moment. This is the low, which gave us this massive swing to the upside here, breaking the highs there on the left. So this is a very important low, which we respected. So pound USD is also testing an area which could present a lot of upside. And I am looking at pullbacks again this week for pound. See if I can get into some more buys and take it back to where we came from. Euro USD I like, just not as much as pound USD. But again, things can happen this week. Euro USD might not look good now, but give it 2-3 days, it might be looking even better than pound. So I'll be focused on this one a lot more. But I'm looking for a very similar idea, another pullback, another higher low, and another push to the upside, at least to take out these highs this week. But I do think we can make it back into this resistance at 1.06. Dollar CHF is, I think, the only USD pair which I'm not looking to trade this week, purely because we haven't broken out this range just yet. But looks like we're very close to. So again, another one that's formed a bit of a double top at the top. And I like dollar CHF because look where we're trading as well. Massive weekly resistance. So you can see that's current. It's a very recurring theme there. Trading at big weekly areas. Pound USD coming from a big weekly demand zone. Dollar CAD, big weekly resistance. Dollar CHF, big weekly resistance. Aussie dollar, which we just looked at, big weekly support. New Zealand dollar, big weekly support. So all trading at some really massive areas where, should we respect them, we could be seeing the USD pairs reverse for a very, very long time and seeing a lot of dollar weakness. And that's kind of where my focus will be this, I say this week, but for the next few weeks, because if the DXY does reverse, then we could see dollar CHF, dollar CAD have massive sells, and Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, pound have massive buys. So something to think about. But for now, in terms of at least a setup here for dollar CHF, I needed to start breaking out the low of the consolidation. Then I'll start looking at opportunities for this one. So this one is definitely something I'm considering, but just not quite ready yet. So in Aussie dollar longs, New Zealand dollar longs, dollar CAD shorts as well on the watch list. Like I said, just looking for pullbacks for this one for more downside. The retest of the range there looks great. And looking to at least short it back to the low. But again, I think we can go further. And of course, dollar yen as well. I like the shorts for this one, but I'm not too sure if I'll get the setup. Looking at another pullback, hopefully. I think I might be asking a bit too much there from dollar yen, but yeah, looking for a pullback somewhere. I do think longer term we're coming back to 141. So I should find an opportunity between current price and there. But I might miss the boat with that entry at 154. But yeah, I do see a lot more downside here. So my analysis is telling me that USD might be weak for a while. But in terms of the dollar, I do need to see price break within the consolidation before I get excited, because this is the massive 2-year range we've seen price trade in, and pretty much price has just been respecting that. This was the breakout we had at the start of the year or towards the end of last year. So that's why I've been pretty bullish on the dollar, because we've had that big breakout. So I said, as long as price stays above resistance, there's a good chance we do push to 113.260. If this is a breakout, and that's what I'm expecting price to go. If this is a fake out, then of course we're going to break back inside the range. And then I'm looking for a big push to 100.923, which is probably the move we need to see if we're going to get that big bearish move for dollar CAD, big bearish move for dollar CHF, big bullish move for pound, big bullish move for Aussie dollar, so on and so forth. We do need to see price break underneath that level. So we'll see what happens. Is this price coming back for a retest, or is this price coming to break back underneath? We'll find out probably within the next week or two, and then that will set the bias up for us. But at least for now, anyway, still pretty bearish, at least for the week. But we'll see if that lasts. But yeah, this is what I'm looking at for dollar this week, which is pretty much again similar to what I'm looking at for dollar CAD as well. Kingsley, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Good to see you as always. I'm doing good. USD ZAR, Euro ZAR, New Zealand CAD. Okay, we'll have a look. See. I think the last time I looked at USD ZAR was last time you requested. I think that's it's becoming a bit of a theme now. Every time you hop on, that's when I look at USD ZAR. Anyway, okay, so last time we checked in with USD ZAR, I believe we're over here somewhere. I think we made a bit of a bullish move there. I said either price is going to push back to highs and you're looking for a sell, or push back to lows and you're looking for a buy. Since then, the market hasn't really done anything, to be honest. It's like it's come back into support, but hasn't really gone anywhere. So it does look like price is still stalling at the highs here. You know, these are equal, well, not equal. These are lower highs price has been printing. And it looks like price may be looking to do another one. And we perhaps get another sell back into the low there. So things are looking pretty bearish. It's interesting because that's an area where we could very much sell off, but also judging price, we could be consolidating to potentially try and get a breakout. In terms of a sell, then the best way I see to sell this one is either we get another stab to the high again, and you find another entry that lines up with the highs here. So 2, then 3, and that will be your entry. Or you wait for support to break, and then we look for opportunities below that. I have noticed that dollar, that USD ZAR is actually pretty smooth in terms of the highs it forms. It's very, very frequent pullbacks, but it does form some really nice highs to trade. So I have to say I do like that about dollar USD ZAR. It's an exotic currency, and I don't really look to trade exotic currencies, but I do like the market structure. It's very obvious, very clear to see, and does give some nice entries as well. But yeah, the way I would look to trade this is either trying to catch the third lower high up there, because I know we've got the trend line to our backs. So this is a very neat area to trade from. If price is going to respect this area, put another lower high in, then I could be entering right at the top there. So it gives me the possibility to swing it back into the low and potentially hold positions for a bigger move. If you want to be a bit more conservative, I'd wait for price to break support and then start to look for opportunities on some retests, some lower highs, and then take some shorts back into this low, back into this low, and then potentially back into that low, of course, if you see the full swing. But yeah, USD ZAR to me, it's respecting highs pretty well. I know this is still level of support, but it's just the awkward place to buy in because yes, we do have a nice bullish trend here, but look where we're trending into a major trend line. If this is going to be bullish and if price is going to break, then let's see if we can break to the upside, and then we can look at the next pullback. I know it's a lot later, but at least we're a lot more confident that this is actually a bullish trend that's going to sustain and probably go and take up the highs down the left because we've broken through the trend line at that point. So buys look okay at this level. You know, retest of structure. I remember telling you probably maybe the last time you asked, the one before that, that buys look good on the high here. We have seen some nice reactions, but since we haven't really gone anywhere, I would start to shift my bias a bit more bearish now. So until we break through the trend line, I'll keep that bearish bias, and those are the opportunities I'll be looking to short. In terms of Euro ZAR, what's up, Chris? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Yes, I had a good weekend. Thank you. Hope you. Ooh, that did not come out right at all. Hope you had a good weekend too. My brain just shut down for a second. Oh my word, that's a lot of drawing. I was going off on one last time we looked at euro as well. Okay, let me just remind myself of the price action here. Okay, so big uptrend, but price has been forming a massive correction here. And we've been moving in this channel. So, okay, I remember last time speaking about possibly a bigger push for another one of those highs to form, and then we see a bigger sell from there. However, that hasn't formed. Price has just been banging its head on consolidation. We did break to the downside. Okay, I remember I was speaking about the retest of the low of the range for some shorts there. Doesn't look like price is respecting that level though. Let me just clean up the chart quickly. There we go. Okay, so it doesn't look like price is respecting that level pretty well. Has price potentially faked the low here to then get excited about a move to the upside? Maybe, because we are still at the low of the trend there. So the shorts up there still look pretty good. I would say if we don't respect this this resistance level, so if we don't sell off from here, then I'm going to treat this as a big fake out and then look for a push back to the high of the range, and then from there probably to that level up there on the weekly chart. So this could end up being a really nice short if this momentum fails and we see a big drop and a big bearish engulfing candle like we did last time we're there. If we don't and we just go and break the highs and push through, then this becomes a big fake to the downside because, of course, this is a big ranging market. This is where a lot of liquidity would lie. Price just gone and taken all of that out. And this might be the catalyst. Price needs to actually see the upside move. So this might be the fake out to start a pretty big move to the upside. And like I said, if that is the case, I'd wait for price to break past the highs there, then look for pullbacks on the retest of this to take it back to the resistance, or wait for price to break the high there and look for some pullbacks afterwards there as well. Either which way, this is the opportunity I'm looking at, or this one here. If we don't sell off. If we do sell off, then it could be a really nice sell back into the lows here, or at least the lows there anyway. But it looks like this might just be a bit of a fake out here for price. So keep an eye on some retest for some longs. And if I go take a look at New Zealand CAD, looking at buys for USDR is almost showing a bullish flag in the 4H. Yeah, so I was looking at that, but it's the fact that we failed at the trend line a couple of times is what's making me a little bit more concerned about the buys. You can look for buys down at the low here because we're still at a very comfortable place in the daily chart for long. So, of course, you've got the high there to look from. You can still very much be looking at buys down here, which makes a lot of sense. And then anticipating the possible move to the upside. I mean, again, with buying and selling, you don't have to necessarily be looking to sell, necessarily looking to buy. The only important thing is that you're making sure you're buying in appropriate areas and selling in appropriate areas. If you're looking to sell, then you want to be selling up here. If you're looking to buy, you want to be buying down here. If you take a buy here, possibly price might reverse and sell off. If you take a buy, possibly price may break out. We don't know. We can only speculate. So if you're looking for entries for longs, this is the place to do it. And I like the opportunity as well. It's just that when price gets up here, I would expect another low high to form. I could be wrong. Like I said, this could just be a bull flag and maybe price is going to continue. In that case, maybe you want to close some partial positions just in case we do sell off, let the rest run. But this is definitely bullish territory, so buys look good down here. And this is, of course, seller's territory. That is where you would be looking to sell if you had a seller's bias. But again, whether you're buying or selling a currency pair doesn't really matter because both sides of the coin can make money, sellers and buyers. It's just about timing your entries well and timing your exits well. And that's really an important thing, making sure you're buying in bullish territory, which we are in now. So it looks good for the buy. And also making sure that you're taking your profits at the right times as well. So yeah, if you're looking for that bull flag, it makes a lot of sense. We're still continuing with the higher lows, so it makes sense. Just be wary of that structure there just above us. I actually do like the buy a little bit better with Eurozar because of that big fake out. you can use that to our advantage because price is fake to go one way. It's most likely going to push the other way. So something like this will look good here for USR, and that could start a big move to the upside. So I like USR because of that. But of course, if you're looking for a long, just make sure you situate yourself in the appropriate areas. And if you're looking to buy it where we are right now for USDR, I would say that's definitely a nice place for a buy. And New Zealand CAD. Let's have a look at this one. So this one's a bit awkward now. I'm still pretty bearish on New Zealand CAD because we're still obeying the descending channel. But it's becoming a bit of a nuisance to trade, I'm not going to lie. So you've got your lower highs over here, and you've got your lower lows. So price is still very comfortably within the range. However, it's just a bit awkward in terms of actually trading this because I would have expected price to respect to the high of the range and then be on its way back to the lows and so on and so forth. Similar to what we did over there. Really nice move, and we saw a lot of continuation. In this situation, price has seen some downside, but it's struggled to show a lot of momentum. And we've had a pretty strong move to the upside right now, as we can see here with this move. So to me, it looks like price is well, it looks like price doesn't really know what it's looking to do, at least. I was going to say it looks like price is potentially going to break to the upside, but I wouldn't want to say that because it's not clear cut yet. We very much could respect the high and come back down. I want to see price, clear candles breaking the high before I do talk more about that. But yeah, with New Zealand CAD, with the bearish bias at least, I would have expected price to be back at the lows now. The fact that we took our time and seeing more momentum to the upside than we saw to the downside is really a red flag there. So I don't really have a clear-cut opportunity anymore for New Zealand CAD. I wouldn't really want to be looking for another retest of the high because of the fact that we haven't really seen a push to the low. The previous time doesn't give me confidence to be looking to sells. So I don't really like the price action here with New Zealand CAD. And I would strongly advise to kind of back off and just wait to see what price does. If you do get a big break to the upside like so, that might be the start of a bit of a bullish trend. It's a bit awkward because we've taken out some key daily structure as well. If you were still respecting that structure, then we could use that to advantage and talk about pushback to the high there. But yeah, I just don't like the way New Zealand CAD's moving. It may respect resistance, come back down, but again, we're not fortune tellers here. I can't predict every single move of the market. I can only predict good opportunities, which when the market shows its hand well and there's good confidence behind it. New Zealand CAD is becoming very corrective, and it's just kind of doing a whole lot of nothing inside this channel. So I'd wait to see what price's next move is going to be. If you do see a confident break outside the channel, then that could be a really nice opportunity for some longs. But of course, we haven't done that yet. So I'll wait for that to happen, and then we can speak more about that, and I can tell you where some nice setups would be on a retest of a particular level. But right now, I don't really have a setup here for New Zealand CAD. So I'm not going to try and force one. I've been looking for a push to the low here, but it looks less likely by the candle. So yeah, not a big fan of New Zealand CAD. What's up, the high health? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Please check see if you're right. Okay. Got into a sell position at 168.770. So yeah, I'm actually looking to see if I can join you in that, to be honest. I'm pretty bearish on the yen pairs, CHF JPY very much included. That's on it's a pair on my watch list at the moment. I think I missed the entry. Well, I say I missed the entry. I haven't missed the entry because there was no setup for me to take. I might have missed the move though. That's the word I was looking for. So yeah, with CHF JPY, I'm looking for a push into the low here at 166. Let me know where your targets are, where you're looking to take it into. That's thank you in Afrikaans. I was thinking about pronouncing that, but I don't want to embarrass myself on the stream. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not gonna embarrass myself, but wherever your welcome is in Afrikaans, yeah, I say that to you. But yeah, happy to help, Kingsley. But yeah, looking for a lot more downside here for CHF and these are the targets for at least this week anyway. Looking for a push into 166. Let me know if you have different targets or where you're looking to take the trade. I'm expecting a lot more downside. I was looking for price to push back into the high this week and take out the high there, give me some fresh highs to work with, and then take some shorts. So that was really the plan there for CHF but again, does not look like we're getting the opportunity. We had a bit of a consolidation here, and looks like price is committed to the downside. Nice breakout on that previous 4-hour candle. Looks like on the last 4-hour candle that just closed, looks like we came back for a retest. And perhaps this 4-hour candle just going to see the continuation of that. So things are looking pretty bearish, I must admit. Your entry was 168.770. 168.770. That's pretty much there-ish. Which time frame do you use to enter? I'm guessing maybe like 5 minutes, something like that, 15 minute. But yeah, really nice entry on that pullback, and looks like we are respecting that high very well. So I'm expecting a lot more downside. Your target's 166.402. 166.402. Okay, so pretty much the low there. So yeah, what's the risk to reward on that position as well? Because if you're, I don't know what time frame you entered. You might have entered on the pullback. You might have entered previously. But either which way, I do have a very similar bias to you. I'm looking for a price to push back to 166, pretty much on the dot, which is that level there. And your target is pretty much in the same area. So, yep, I have the same bias as you, expecting a lot more downside as well. Oh, 13 to 1. Damn, that is a big risk reward. How are you looking to manage that position? You're just going to look to hold all the way to the target. Are you going to take partials anywhere? Trading stops? How are you planning to manage that? That is a generous risk reward. But yeah, I'm looking for a lot more downside for CHF as I'm doing for pretty much all the yen pairs. I was looking for the retest of the high. It does not look like we're getting that. And the fact that we've kind of broken out the consolidation in the 4-hour chart, had a nice little retest there. Does look like we've probably got some more downside in store. So yeah, very clean bearish trend on CHF I must admit. Very clean lower lows and lower highs. And 166 looks like a really nice target. In general, I do think we're going to take out these lows here pretty soon as well. That's really my plan for CHF to go and take out these lows here. And we're not too far away from that. So yeah, very, very bearish across the yen pairs. I'll keep my eyes peeled on the JPY basket because I'm hoping to see one more pullback for this one, but I'm not too sure if we'll see it. Because this was a pretty strong drop, which is why I haven't been so eager to just hit the mic there. I hope I haven't deafened anyone. So yeah, I've been very bullish on the yen basket and bearish on the yen pairs. Of course, if the yen basket is bullish, you're seeing yen become strong, and the US and then the yen pairs will fall. But the retracement we got last week was so aggressive, really strongly to the downside, which has kind of made me a bit cautious jumping to trade straight away. I'm looking for a slightly more developed pullback, hoping for another push to downside into the low there, and then looking for that to find some entry. So that has been my plan for the yen basket and my plan for a lot of the yen pairs as well. Looking for one more move to the upside before the sell, because this looks like a really impulsive move, and I wonder, is this the correction of that move, or is price just ready to rip to the upside? We'll have to wait and see. But in terms of a setup, that would be nice, and that would allow me to get some really nice setups on pound yen, some nice setups on pound yen, a nice retest of the high, then some shorts. Hopefully, a nice setup on euro yen, another retest of the high, then some shorts. Possibly dollar yen on a pullback as well. It depends how this one sets up, but looking for some entries in that area there as well. And CAD yen could present nicely. I'm not really interested in CAD yen, but that could be a nice setup there too. So that one last move to the downside for the basket could allow so many setups to present themselves on the end pairs for myself. But we'll see if that happens. Price is already looking pretty bullish. We might just go and continue. Okay, take partials at 168 and ride the rest. Okay, makes sense. Where is 168? 168. Okay, that's just below the low there. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. So hopefully that trade does come for you. I mean, I'm looking for price to push a little bit higher. That's just personally so I can find an entry. But yeah, hopefully that trade does play out for you. 13-1 is a big move. Khan, what is up? View on Euro USD and Pound USD, of course, we'll take a look, and then we'll go through some of the CAD pairs, some of the crosses as well, some of the C-check pairs because they're looking interesting. I always keep an eye on the C-check pairs and the end pairs because they do similar things too. And I'm expecting a big drop for the end pairs. C-check pairs coming in the same boat. But we'll get through Euro USD and Pound USD first. So, I cannot spell today. There we go. So yeah, Euro USD, I'm looking at a lot more upside this week. I'm looking at a push back into the high here at 1.05300. I'm also looking for a push back into the high there at 1.06100. So I still see a lot more upside here for Euro USD. It's just now about finding a appropriate pullback to trade. And something around here is really where I'm looking for entries, around 1.043. Hopefully find some entries in that area to take it back into the high there at 1.06. So very, very bullish on Euro USD. We're being pretty consistent with these higher lows now. One over there, second, third. Price is slowly pushing to the upside. I've talked about this kind of round and bottom that price is putting in. This is a very common reversal theme and a reversal pattern that does actually work pretty well. Not common, but when it does form, it does give a nice little success rate there. So I do think Euro is likely to break to the upside here, and we've got the highs there on the left. I do think price is likely to take them out. So yeah, pretty bullish on Euro. Keep an eye on the pullbacks. 1.042 looks good. I'm expecting a lot more upside. And Pound USD, pretty much looking at the exact same setup as well. Pound USD coming from a really nice level of demand. Really big low here, which gave us this push to the upside. Of course, taking out the highs there. And prices come back and respected that. So it's a very interesting level now, because this perhaps could start another big move to the upside there for pound as well. And of course, we can see what we're getting is nice higher highs and higher lows as well. So for pound USD, looking at another correction this week, hopefully another higher low somewhere. I'm looking around the 1.245 area. This area here, close to the trend line. That's really where I'm looking for entries. And again, in terms of targets, back to where we came from, back at 1.262, because although we are trading from a nice high time frame area and price is slowly pushing up, I don't really have a key cut level to target past the swing point there, because the trend is still very much bearish and there's still a lot of momentum there. So have to be careful. But yeah, pound USD, nice bullish structure, slowly picking up the pace. Now looking for another pullback and then some more upside. What's up, Lauda? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of the crosses. Okay, I'll start with pound NZD. You said you're long high elf on pound NZD from 2.19614. So yeah, pound NZD is a bit awkward. I don't have a clear-cut bias for that one just yet, at least in the 4-hour chart. I say that because price is forming higher lows, possibly another one there, and is also forming lower highs as well. So really what we have is a market that is squeezing between the high lows of the trend and the lower highs of the trend as well. So typically in this pattern, price is eventually going to commit to a direction. Whether that's going to be to the upside, to the downside, is difficult to say. I know that the overall kind of trend on the daily chart is to the upside, so that's kind of where you would naturally expect it to push to. Very consistent trend here, all of these high lows in succession. So I'll probably say there's a greater chance we do break to the upside. But I'm very wary of where we're trading in the higher time frames. Very, very pivotal point here where we could actually be looking for a bit of a reversal coming soon. But of course, I'm not going to try and predict that right now because that could take a few weeks and you could definitely miss out on a few trades between now and then. But like I said, we're making higher lows, but at the same time making lower highs as well, which doesn't give me consistency with the market structure. Therefore, it's something I would stay away from until we get that consistency in terms of, okay, we're making higher highs and higher lows or lower lows and lower highs. So you're in terms of finding buys, we're at a nice area for a buy because we've pulled back into this consolidation. So although we are kind of squeezing in this channel, there is still buying and selling opportunities. You just want to be as close as possible to the high and close as possible to the low. Then you can find some nice reactions of those areas. The only tricky thing is in terms of targets, be careful of, price squeezing on you and rejecting highs quickly and coming back down. But you said you got some entries around 2.19, 2.19, 614. That's around there-ish. So nice area for an entry. I must admit, you got the trendline confluence, price come back to a nice consolidation, really big move to the upside. So naturally a healthy area to buy from. So I do like the buys there for pound NZD. Just like I said, for the reasons we are squeezing, I don't like the structure. Well, if you're looking for a push back to the highs there, I think that makes sense, but I would look to call it quits just in case we do come right back down again, which at the moment in time looks pretty likely. Again, you could be looking at a bigger swing, possibly back to the highs there, but you want to be looking to partial out at least, secure some gains at the high. So all in all, I like the location of where you're entering because it represents the low end of the pattern. As long as price can respect that, there's a good chance we do rally in your favor. But as we start to approach 2.213, I would watch out. After the last bearish FVG, we don't have a follow through with the new FVGs. That's my long bias. So, okay, on the flow chart. Okay, fair enough. I mean, in terms of the overall market structure, we're still very consistent with the high lows, as I mentioned. We may still continue that, but I don't like the lower highs prices printing in there, which is why I'm not necessarily looking for any opportunities on pound NZD just yet. If we do commit to the upsides, then the next pullback after that would be a lot more appeasing to me because at that point, we've got some consistent higher lows, consistent higher highs as well. And then that pullback will fit my criteria. Again, it's all a game of probabilities at the end of the day. And if the trend's going to continue, it's going to continue. But I'll just watch out for the high there. Again, I'm not saying this is not a good location to buy. It definitely is. It's just in terms of targets, if you're looking to target the high there, you've got to be careful of this point. And again, we could easily get the breakout and price could continue. It's just that there's a chance we may not, as with every trade as well. There's always a chance that price doesn't continue, which is why we don't have 100% win rates, but just make sure you're well aware of that area. In terms of the crosses, though, since we had a look at pound NZD, pound Aussie's in a similar boat as well. In terms of we are forming lower highs and also forming higher lows. So again, another pair which I'm not the biggest fan of right now, even though if you look at the higher time frame situation, market is still pretty consistent with the higher lows there too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 there, you could argue. So the market is still very consistent with the higher lows as well, and perhaps still looking at a longer term move to the upside. However, we are forming lower highs now, which is definitely a sign that the market is tiring. In fact, that we've taken out some major highs as well on the weekly, monthly chart as well, tells me that, again, we're in an area where we very much could be looking at another lower high forming for push down like we did over there, as well. So I wonder, are we in an area where that could happen? Again, this is very much a longer term bias. So it's nothing to really take into meaningful consideration just yet, especially if you're in the lower time frames. Not really concerned too much about that move. But as a swing trader, I would be, especially if I'm looking for buys. I know I need to be a bit more aggressive on my target just in case we do turn around. But yeah, pound Aussie is in a similar situation, forming these lower highs as well. So until I can see some consistency in that direction, on the 4-hour chart, I won't be looking to trade pound Aussie or pound NZD for that matter. But again, you can kind of see we're just kind of squeezing here. So I need price to commit, and then we'll know. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of these currency pairs right now. In terms of Euro NZD, still waiting for this one to break out of this consolidation. Excuse me. We've been trading this for a while, which is funny because it's inside of a massive consolidation, which we've been trading for a very long while. Consolidating right at the top of a consolidation. So just very, very choppiness for USD the past, a few months, past couple of years actually. So it's been very, very messy price action, but I do expect to see a nice breaker happen pretty soon. And if I measure 50% of this range, I do expect us to go and hit the 50, which is around tierish. Again, doesn't have to be bang on the money, but around 1.79, 1.8. That's what I'm looking for price to get to. So if I can see a clean breakout of this range, I would expect a bit of a bearish trend to form on the way back down into that low. And that's the opportunity I'm interested in, because I don't really like trading within ranges, but because I can see there's a clear rejection of the high of the range, there is a good chance we do push to the 50. I wouldn't mind some pullbacks down the lower charts, 4-hour, hourly chart, to ride it back down into the middle. Possibly we might see a full swing of the range as well. I might leave some positions to run, but the chart is very, very messy, so I probably won't. Only very clean trending markets where I tend to look for really big risk rewards, because I know that, okay, the trend continues, there's a good chance price will get to that swing high or that swing low. When it's kind of range bound, choppy structure, a lot can happen. Price may still get to my target, but because it's choppy, let's say if I entered here somewhere, my stop loss is here, and then price is going very, very well, just because of the choppiness of the market, I could very much get taken out of the trade and then see price move my direction. Whereas in a trending pair, if you can catch a nice high somewhere, entry, stop loss, and price in your direction, the odds of now pricing coming back to your entries is a lot slim, because there's a healthy trend going on. Of course, nothing's guaranteed, but you're well protected, especially if structures formed in your direction. In choppy markets, you can get random moves, random wicks like this one here. I can just take you out of a position and you see price going your direction. So most times in choppy conditions, I'll just take the profit and run. It's a bit of a pain trying to hold through all the noise. If it's trending well, then I take full advantage of that and leave the position to do their thing. But yeah, if USD can make a move, could perhaps be some nice shorts there to look at. Euro Aussie did break out, but it looks like it broke back inside. I don't know if this is just price just playing around, or if we are ready to break back outside again, because it looks like we're breaking through support again. I like price to show some continuation. In other words, take out that low, and then I'll be looking for another lower high for a sell. Again, this is our range we've had. This is the market breaking to the downside, breaking back in. If you break again and take out the lows, that shows commitment to the downside. Then hopefully you can find some pullbacks to the next lower high. So 1, 2, and 3, and then a short to the downside. And again, for this one, I'm looking at a push back to the lows here at 1.6 roughly. Again, not the greatest conditions. May close the trade earlier, but that's what I'm expecting price to get to. But yeah, the crosses aren't great at the moment. Again, in terms of my trade, I'm looking for clear structure, clear momentum. Doesn't have to be a crazy, healthy trend. I just need clear structure, really. Of course, the better the trend, the better. But if I can see clear highs and lows, I can find opportunities there. Right now, the structure here is just very sideways. There's no consistency in terms of the trend. Of course, there is lower lows and lower highs and structure, thin structure, but just in terms of the general momentum of the market, it's been very, very flat for the past 2 years. So in terms of swing trading, you've got to be very careful. You don't want to look for too big of a target, because there's a good chance we find support and price comes right back against you, and all those floating profits will be gone. So definitely need to take that into consideration. But yeah, Euro Aussie as well, definitely a pair I'm looking for a lot more downside, hopefully in the next week or two. In terms of the other crosses, so euro pound and Aussie New Zealand dollar. So euro pound, I'm actually pretty bearish on this one, looking for another push to the downside. Looks like perhaps that higher time frame trend is continuing. So you got this trend here. It looks like it's still at play. I've been looking for a bit of reversal because we're trading at a massive weekly level of support. Well, weekly, I say monthly level of support. Or we could reverse from, but we really haven't just seen that movement happen yet. So I'm still favoring a bit more downside at the moment. We did get a really strong move to the upside, but it didn't amount to much. Price just come back in respect to structure, and it had a really big sell-off since then as well. So the way I see euro pound right now is that it looks like we're having a bit of a correction here. I said on the weekly analysis, it would be nice to see price push back to the high there, and then we look for some shorts, and then we catch a nice move to the downside there as well, and perhaps a swing back into the low there as well. Now that would make a load of sense. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for euro pound. This looks like just another correction for possibly another drop. And if we do get the drop and the continuation of this bearish trend here, where are we going? Well, most likely back to the low there at 0.822. So pretty bearish there for euro pound, sorry. In terms of Aussie New Zealand dollar, this one's just very awkward. I don't really know how price is working right now. I mean, again, I'm still looking to follow this overall bullish structure. However, it's just not clear cut. Not really seeing clarity in terms of the market structure, especially in recent weeks where we've been very, very corrective here. We broke to the upside, saw some nice momentum, but we shot back down just as aggressively. So overall, Aussie New Zealand dollar just not looking healthy at all. So quite frankly, I'm staying away from this one. In terms of the trend, I naturally expect us to push back to highs. But would I look for an opportunity here? No, just not very clean. So I would stay away. In terms of the CHF pairs, so as I said, I'm currently trading Aussie CHF, but I was looking at a few CHF pairs at the time. New Zealand CHF looked good as well, but that one hasn't really done much either. We've actually pushed the upside mostly there as well. I mean, we are pushing back to the high of the range here. So again, this actually is not a bad place for entries, to be honest. For a short, if this trend is going to continue and if we are going to get back to lows here at 0.494, then this is the place where I'd like to short. But because I'm shorting Aussie CHF, I don't really see a point for me to be looking to get involved in New Zealand CHF because they're very much the same pair. Gideon. Yes, I will take a look at that in a second. Let me just go through some of the CHF pairs. But I think I know the pattern you're talking about. I think the high health is pretty much trading that pattern. But yeah, with New Zealand CHF, we're back at major resistance again. So if you're looking to short, this is definitely the time and place to be looking for. I wouldn't say it's just ready yet, but if we can get another push to the upside, another strong rejection there, I think that would be a really nice place for a short. And possibly another swing back to the low and possibly swing back to the all-time low there as well. So that's what I like about New Zealand CHF. There's a lot of downside opportunity here should we see the continuation, because if I go to even the monthly chart, for example, we can clearly see there's a bearish trend here in the market. So pretty much all the major timeframes are pointing down. Therefore, in terms of a short, it makes a lot of sense to be looking to get involved right at the high where the turning point most likely will be. So expect a lot more downside here for New Zealand CHF. I'm currently in Aussie CHF in a bit of a drawdown right now, so I'm not really interested about jumping into New Zealand CHF until this one's played out. Very similar opportunity though. My stop loss is right above the high, so I'm just going to let price do its thing. We're either going to push back to my stop loss or we're going to turn around. Either which way, I'm going to let price have its room. We've got a lot of confluence in this area, so if you're going to respect it, we're going to respect it. If not, we're not. But we'll see what happens with that. In terms of pound CHF, I've been looking for opportunities for this one as well, but to be honest, it's just very flat. So I'm just gonna leave it alone. I'm already trading Aussie. I'm already trading a CHF pair, so I'm not trying to double up on the CHF right now, especially when it's a bit flat. I'm not necessarily showing a lot of momentum in the market. You can see the range here, crystal clear for everyone to see. Long term, I'm looking for a push back into the low here at 1.07699. However, the way I'm looking to trade it is I'm very much waiting for price to break to the downside first and then look for opportunities there. You can be looking to short the high. It hasn't been a clean enough entry for me to jump into anything, and the fact I'm already trading a CHF pair. But if you are looking at shorts, I think the high is a nice place to be looking to short because we've rejected it pretty much every time we've been here. So as long as that stays true, it's of course going to be a nice place to short. But this would be the best opportunity because this opportunity here, you've got clarity in terms of the momentum of the market, breaking to the downside. Now the opportunity and the possibility of us getting back to the lows there is far greater. So I'm pretty bearish on Aussie CHF as well. Reason being is I'm looking for the continuation of this bearish leg. I see this as the correction of that. So I'm looking for another continuation. But it's taking its sweet time. So yeah, I'm going to wait to see how that develops, and hopefully there might be an entry or setup in the next coming days. CAD CHF, another CHF pair which is ranging, although I'm actually not looking for sells for this one. I'm actually looking for possibility in buys. If I look at the overall channel and how price is moving, this is just a market which is descending and looks like it perhaps is getting ready for a move to the upside back into the upper end of the range, upper end of the channel. And if you do get break to the upside, I will be looking for some pullbacks to see if I can long it back to the highs and yeah, go from there. Perhaps we might sell off again. But this is a CHF pair that looks rather bullish to me than bearish. Euro CHF, I'm kind of a bit more neutral, although I do feel like we probably can get a similar pullback to CAD CHF as well. As you can see, another one that's moving in a channel. Possibility of a pullback is definitely there. Then a longer term sell. But can I look for buys on the way up? Yes, but just there is no good opportunity right now to take a trade. Maybe if you start breaking the highs again, there might be some nice opportunities following that. But right now, the market's very flat. Not really seeing consistency in the higher lows or a good setup that fits my plan well. So staying on the sidelines with Euro CHF, looking for a move to the upside. Same with CAD as well. But a lot needs to happen before I do take a trade. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the CHF pairs. I'll go take a look at CHF JPY and the hourly chart for Gideon there. Kevin, what's up? Welcome, welcome. Love your show. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. How are you seeing the yen crosses after the good economic numbers from Japan? I'm still very bearish on the yen pairs. I'll go for a bunch of them in a second. I'm still very bearish on the yen pairs. I'm looking for very much a longer term move to the downside for the yen pairs. So that's where I see it. We did have a lot of strength last week from the yen pairs. So I wonder maybe is there still a little bit of upside left before the sell? And that's kind of what I'm hoping for, so I can find some entries. But in terms of the longer term move and really what my bias is with the yen pairs, is still very much bearish, and it has been since the start of the year. Well, actually before then, really. It has been for a while, so I'm looking for a lot more downside for the yen pairs, but there might be some upside, short-term upside before we do get that sell, which is kind of what I'm hoping for. But yeah, I'll go through a bunch of yen pairs now. CHF JPY, getting you asked for it, head and shoulder pattern on the hourly chart. Okay, yeah, I see the pattern. So you got the left shoulder over there, got the head over there, right shoulder. There's your lovely neckline, break and retest, and possibly now price is going to see the continuation. So yeah, in terms of a nice head and shoulder pattern, it does tick the boxes pretty well, I must say. So yeah, I mean, I was looking for one more push to the upside. I was hoping for price to actually take up the highs before pushing down, but I just didn't see that, so I didn't get my entry. But since then, we broke to the downside. Looks like we're breaking through support right now, and coming back to retest it as resistance. So perhaps this is now the move we're going to see with CHF JPY to get us back down to the lows, and that could very well be the case. So yeah, in terms of the hourly setup, it looks good. Higher time frames look good as well. We've got a very consistent 4H bearish trend on our hands right now. How many low highs have we placed in? Is this going to be another one? It looks like it is. So yeah, in terms of CGFJPY, very bearish, expecting another swing to the downside, and actually a much longer term move as well. I'm looking for the daily lows on the left here to be taken out as well, too. So that's why I do think we're going to see a lot more downside. But yes, CGFJPY looks really good on the hourly chart. I do expect us to see a lot more downside here. The opportunity may have gone in terms of the break and retest, but I do expect a big trend to form for the yen pairs to the downside. So if we miss this high, of course, it's you want to take advantage of it. But if you're not in the trade, then most likely will be another setup that comes shortly afterwards. If not CTF perhaps another yen pair. And the key thing with the yen pairs is that they are very correlated. If you look at the price action with the yen pairs and look at that correlation between them, they pretty much do the same thing. The yen is very much the governing force. Of course, there will be different strengths and different speeds and different intensities between the yen pairs because of all the other related currencies. But the yen is really where you want to be focusing on. If yen is going to be strong, most likely 9 times out of 10, yen is strong against every other currency. If yen is weak, most likely yen is weak against every other currency in terms of the greater trend. Of course, not in terms of the intraday fluctuations, even intra-week fluctuations. Things can change and come in and out of strength. But in terms of the overall trend, CTFJPY has been up, dollar yen's been up, New Zealand yen's been up. You guys get the point here. So yen is really the focus, especially if you're swing trading. Day trading, things can fluctuate a lot, but if you're swing trading, you're looking at the overall trend. Yen has been very weak, but I do think things are shifting, and yen's might be a bit strong for a while. And that's just how we move in FX. If you go to the higher time frames, look where we're trading on the monthly chart, by the way, for New Zealand yen, back at some major resistance here. So the probability of us getting a bit of a reaction to the downside is pretty high, just looking at the technicals alone. So, and that's the story for a lot of the yen pairs right now. So yeah, I do think we'll see a lot more downside, just about timing and being patient. And yes, you probably might miss some opportunities, like the CHF JPY opportunity right now, maybe in full flow. But there'll be opportunities after that, and there'll be opportunities after that, and so on and so forth. And there'll be opportunities on different currency pairs as well, which is why I trade a wide range of pairs to make sure that I'm always available to take a good trade. Because if I just focus on one pair, especially in the time frames I trade, I might only get 3 or 4 good opportunities in the whole year, and that won't be enough to achieve the results I want to achieve. Otherwise, I'll be taking a lot of subpar trades, and that's just not ideal. So in all honesty, I'm looking to expand the pairs I trade. Hopefully by the end of the year, I'll be trading oil and some other indices as well. Maybe platinum as well. Just to expand my palette a little bit more, so I got more. I always struggle to say that word. More options. I was going to try and say it, but I was like, okay, let me just not embarrass myself on stream. So more options to pick, and that helps me take better trades, and that just helps my trading in general. So yeah, that's really my focus right now. Jay Smith, commodities. Okay, I'll go through some commodities for you. Do you have any specific commodities you're looking at? No, it's not diversification. It starts with V. Variety. There we go. Variety. I had to go through it in my head like 4 or 5 times before I try and say that. Variety. I'm probably still saying it wrong. So it's the I there that throws me off. But diversification is a good word as well. I could have said that too. Okay, I'll go through some of the commodities. We'll take a look at gold, silver. We'll take a look at oil as well. I haven't looked at oil yet today, so I'm keen to see what oil's doing because I haven't actually looked at it since last week. Lauder, bias and dollar CHF. Okay, I'll go through that quickly now. Go through the commodities. But yeah, bias dollar CHF is bearish. I'm just waiting for us to break out the consolidation because, again, number one, where's dollar CHF trading? Okay, this is Oenda. Let me head back to FXCM. There we go. So look at where we're trading. Massive resistance here on the weekly chart. Once, twice, and a third time here. Of course, at the moment, we're kind of just respecting it. We haven't made the move yet. We could still break to the upside, but judging how other USD pairs are looking at, judging the fact that we've had 4 or 5 weeks where we've just respected that high and we haven't had the breakout, I do expect to see dollar CHF break to the downside. So my bias is bearish. But in terms of looking for shorts and actually opportunities, I want us to break through support first before I actually start looking for opportunities. Similar to what dollar CAD has. Nice range. We broke to the downside. Now I'm looking for shorts and continuations for dollar CAD. I'm looking to be doing the same thing with dollar CHF as well. But I need to see price give us that move to the downside. So my bias is pretty bearish. I know at support right now. Perhaps we hold support and see a move to the upside. If that's the case, I'm not really interested anyway because we'll just be back inside the range and fluctuating. I want price to commit to a direction, even if it's to the upside. Then I'll start looking at something like this. But because of reasons I just stated, I do think we're more likely to break to the downside. So the bias is bearish. I'm waiting for us to break to the downside. And then, yeah, something like that shortly afterwards. But that is the bias with dollar CHF. So in terms of the commodities, I will go through gold, silver, and we'll take a look at oil as well. So yeah, gold, we had that really aggressive sell last week, right at the end of the week, which made things really, really awkward for a few people. I do think gold is coming to a point where it needs to retrace on a slightly bigger scale. We've seen some, of course, intraday retracements as prices have been flying. You can see on the daily chart, we've been bullish pretty much since December there, and we haven't really slowed down at all. So this is the first kind of major double top with a really aggressive reaction. I wonder, is this going to now be the catalyst of a bigger pullback? And if so, that would be great because then that will provide some nice swing opportunities to buy it back to the highs and so on and so forth. Maybe back to 3K up there as well. So that would be very nice indeed. But I've been very bullish on gold. I was talking about some setups last week about the entry here on the retest of this level. Played out pretty well back to the high. But since we got this aggressive retracement, I would avoid looking for those buy opportunities and perhaps maybe wait to see if we can get some counter trend sells. And what would be a nice sell is if price can break through support, and then we can look at some retests on the underside of that for some shorts. Because we've got the double top. This is the neckline. If that can break, that confirms to us that the trend here is shifting and we could see some sells. Like I said, I do expect the trend just to be short term, just to give us a big correction. So maybe as we approach the high here, we can start talking about some buys again. But in the meantime, there might be some nice sells. So not interested in the buys anymore. Really aggressive sell. We may continue. Of course, I'm not a fortune teller, but in terms of the quality of the setup, it's definitely not looking as good as it was last week or the week before or the week before that. We had some really nice, healthy retracements, which gave us healthy opportunities to buy. Now it could go up, but it's just not looking clean. So I'll wait for the bigger retracement and see if we can find some buys off the back of that. Silver kind of likewise as well. It's still bullish. We haven't broken through any major structure yet. You can still see the higher highs and higher lows. But we had a really aggressive move to the upside there for silver, followed by a very aggressive move back down. Not something that looks relatively healthy in terms of the trend. And left behind a massive wick there on the daily chart, especially when we're trading some massive resistance on our left there, as we can see. So it's just price just being a bit awkward right now. I'm still very bullish for silver, looking for a push back to the high. But when price is rejecting a level like we did there on the daily chart, it makes things a little bit awkward. I still expect us to break through, but would I want to buy into that anymore? No, not really. So for silver, it would be nice if we could either have a bigger correction, price slows down, maybe even retest the low there, or we look to continue the trend, then look for the pullback afterwards. At least that might be a bit cleaner and provide a better trade opportunity just in general. But it was a very awkward sell last week. In terms of the direction, still very bullish overall for both currency pairs. For both commodities. But yeah, in terms of finding entries like right now, I wouldn't want to be buying just yet. And in terms of oil, Okay, so oil's just slowly just pushing down. So oil's just very corrective. So I'll be careful with the sells, even though I'm still expecting push back into lows, but we are taking our time as well. So I'll be very careful of that. I feel like if you can have a bigger correction closer to this area, that might be a nice place for a short. As long as we can continue to respect the highs. But yeah, things are becoming a bit more awkward here for oil. No problem, Lord. Happy to help. But yeah, in terms of what I will be expecting in terms of trades this week, of course, managing the Aussie seat chef position. But in terms of the yen pairs, I like quite a few of them. Just need to wait and hope and see, really, if I do get the entries I'm after. Maybe price doesn't want to give me the entries and maybe we just keep selling off. Or maybe price is going to be nice and give me the entries. I don't know. But what I can say is that I'm expecting a lot of downside. I keep saying that, but I really do mean that. So if I don't get this set up now, at some point there will be a nice setup to trade. It might be the next pullback or even the next pullback after that. So yeah, that's what my focus is, just taking a good trade. And if one presents itself, I'll be there to take it. But I am looking to see if the yen pairs can have one move to the upside, but they are looking pretty bearish right now. So I wonder if that is actually a possibility. I'm just going through them right now. And we're seeing a lot of momentum this morning. CTF is loving life right now. So you might not see that, but I'm actively looking to sell the pairs. In terms of the dollar, I do like dollar. To be honest, I actually like dollar almost as much as I like yen, to be honest. I like yen because they'll probably give you bigger moves and faster moves, but USD pairs look really good. Aussie dollar pullbacks look really good this week. If you can get some pullbacks, retest that range. I like the buys there. Dollar CAD sells look really good this week as well. Yeah, pull back into that zone there, get some shorts. I really like that setup as well. New Zealand dollar likewise too. If we can get pull back into this zone, a retest, some upside there looks great. Pound USD I like as well. Hopefully find some nice buys there again, and some continuations from that as well. Any other dollar pairs? Euro USD looks okay, but I do prefer the other USD pairs to them, to this one. But again, that might present a nice trade as well. So USD pairs have my attention just as much as yen this week. There's some really good USD pairs to trade, especially if the XY continues to sell. But the yen pairs look really good because I know that they can go very, very far, especially with a swing style. That is something I do focus on. Can I hold a trade for potentially a few weeks? I'd always rather take that trade rather than one that might just go for a couple of days, even though I might take most of my profit in a couple of days. But the possibility to continue and hold positions to run is allowing me to make more profit on every trade. With the USD pairs, the possibility for a big run is there as well, but it's just not as clear cut as with the yen pairs. So that's the conundrum. In terms of other pairs I'm looking at, like I said, managing Aussie seat chef. I'm not really looking to get into another seat chef pair. Crosses, I'm not really liking crosses, to be honest. Maybe if I see some nice breakouts on Euro Aussie, maybe I might start looking for opportunities, but it's got to be clean. If not, I'll leave it alone just because it's a very messy pair in general. So it needs to be very, very clean to entice me into a trade. And CAD pairs, not really interested in either. A lot of consolidation there and just a lot of messiness in general. Silver, I'm still interested in, so I'll keep an eye on silver, see how it develops. But yeah, just a very awkward retracement last week, so it's made me maybe a bit cautious. But hopefully, as the week goes on, might see some nice corrections, and hopefully, a nice trade does present itself. So that's what my focus will be. But yeah, guys, we have come up to the end of the stream. If you have found it useful, please be sure to drop a like on the stream. It does really help out. Subscribe to the channel. And of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that in the description below and also at the top of the chat. You can find out more information about Elevating Traders there. You can chat with us, chat with other people, join the community. Of course, you can share ideas there, share my ideas there too. So if you're looking to participate, make sure you join in, check out the links. It will be in the description below. I will be live every day this week, as always. Well, every weekday this week, as always, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So if you guys are free, make sure you pop in, say hi, and come and chat with us. But guys, I do really appreciate you tuning into the stream. Have a great day, and I'll catch you all in tomorrow's stream.